I love them a lot. They very much do treat me like a person. Like I try to do with artists. I'm like, they're people with gifts. I treat them like people and not just objects to be consumed. I'm very grateful because I hate when I see other creators that have audiences that do not care about them as people and treat them like robots. I very much advocate for them. One of my pet peeves, it's a pet peeve. They just put out this whole video, this entire video that it took them hours to edit and and you're underneath like, well, yeah, that's nice, but where's this and this and this? And I'm just like, I appreciate the enthusiasm. It's nice. It's sweet. But can we talk about this thing that I just spent all of my time and energy putting in just for a second. So.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reactorverse podcast brought to you by Passionfruit. I'm joined today by our first music-based reactor that we've had on the show. We're breaking new ground here today. I'm happy to have her here. It is Maya, aka KioshiWarrior. Maya, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Not me being the first music reactor. Oh, wow. The pressure.
Yeah. First off, happy belated birthday.
Thank
you had your 30th birthday.
Thank you so much.
I watched the vlog for that. That was very fun.
Thank you. We had so much fun.
Yeah, I want to say the Selkie dress was fantastic. My girlfriend is a big Selkie collector, so I have a appreciation for it.
I'm entering my fairy era. I love a good frilly floral dress, so me and her would get along very well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I mentioned, though, we haven't had that many music reactors on, just because the music industry is not as something I'm as privy to as, like, say, the film industry, which is why I focus on a lot of like film and TV reactions. But you've broken into that territory recently, and so I wanted to see, maybe there's a good segue here to sort of have, test the waters of that, and like I definitely have a few questions on that genre for sure.
Awesome.
And so I'm excited to have you on today, just sort of like, pick your brain about that.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. As always, we usually start at the beginning of everyone's career here. So to go back to the start of your career with the channel, you weren't doing reactions to start with right away. You started sort of like kind of like story time, vlog content to sort of like get things started. And that was in like sort of like the mid 2010s of YouTube. I think things were sort of like shifting pretty much for the platform, in its own way. Even prior to starting the channel, what was your earliest sort of exposure or interest in YouTube or online content creation?
Well, I definitely watched more YouTube than television. I had like creators that I called like my own personal comfort creators, mostly story time video makers, but also vloggers and different lifestyle makeup girlies, Jackie Ina, Michelle Phan, Kenneth Senegal, formerly known as He Flawless. He's actually the one who inspired me to start my channel. He did story times with his little pillow and stuff. So that's what I started with, doing story times. But yeah, I've always been into YouTube, always.
All right. Do you recall any process or motivation behind starting the channel in a way where you thought like, maybe I want to try a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
I definitely started my channel on a whim. I was watching one of Kenny's story times and I was like, you know what? I have a story. I quite literally got up, grabbed my camera, set it up. I'd never done it before. I don't know how to focus anything. I dread going back and watching my old videos. I was like, girly, but we all have to start somewhere. And it was very much impulsive. It was like, this is something I've wanted to do for a really long time. Let's just do it. And that's kind of how it started.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's usually what I hear from most people is like, I just went and I didn't overthink it because otherwise I would never started.
I spent a lot of years thinking, but actually creating my first video was completely impulse. I didn't plan it at all.
Exactly. Yeah. What is your, because I think at the same time you started dabbling in the music reactions pretty early on after a few videos of the storytime stuff. Again, what is your sort of general music background in terms of just of your earliest interests growing up, and then sort of the ones that became your favorite as you got older?
Well, first of all, excuse my puppy is in the background. He is sleeping, so he's making little droplet sounds. If you hear that, that's him. I've been singing since I was around like 6.
Mhm.
So music has always also been a huge part of my life. In college, I was in literally every music group on campus at one point or another. So it wasn't a far-fetched jump once I started getting into reactions. I didn't know that they were a thing until I found some of my favorite reactors, and I was like, people like this? My friends used to play me music all the time just because they wanted to see my reactions.
Right.
My late grandfather used to make me watch movies because he loved seeing my reactions to them. So I like to say I've been reacting for a long time. I just started filming it, I just started
Right.
but yeah, music has always been and will continue to be like a core part of my life. So I was like, let's try this. Let's dabble in this. My first reaction was also impulsive. I was very drunk. I was in college and Taylor Swift had just dropped Look What You Made Me Do, and I'm not a Taylor fan, but I was like, let's just see. Let's see what's going on. And then I woke up the next day and it had 10,000 views, and I was like, right. Right, yeah. So let's see what's going on over here.
Right. Yeah. There's something to tap into there.
Yeah.
And yeah, early on, particularly when you started, there's just the platform's just much different in terms of copyright, just what's sort of allowed.
Yeah.
What was there any significant learning curve for you at the beginning in terms of the technical aspect of editing, so on, but also just in terms of the presentational aspect of just, being on camera and being able to articulate yourself in a way to engage with the material?
Well, I will say my grandfather definitely set me up for life. He was recording me fresh out of the womb. So I had the Maya Tomlin show in the morning and the afternoon. So sitting and talking in front of the camera has always been very natural to me. So that wasn't a learning curve so much as the copyright, most definitely. Especially,
Right.
I didn't have that issue with story times. So thankfully my Taylor video like stayed up. But after that, I try to record stuff and it would either get taken down. I edited all of my videos up until about year 6 of doing my channel. And now I have editors. Praise God. Love you guys very much. But going back and making so many different versions of videos and just praying it clears, I kind of got the idea, don't play it for longer than 3 seconds. Most people do 5. I'm anal. I do 3 just to triple check. And with music videos, don't let it stay on the screen for longer than 2 seconds without you being on the screen somewhere or the screen shifting in some way, shape, or form. And once I got that formula down, I was like, okay, it got way easier after that.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a skill to develop, honestly, to just learn the ins and outs of how that sort of process goes. And did you have any issues, now over the years with copyright in terms of just like the evolution of it? Has things gotten harder, like have you developed any sort of, I guess, sixth sense for it? Because I know that I have definitely working in the space.
Well, because I don't edit my videos now, my editor, Jordan, is fabulous and he is able to meander through it. But I've noticed that as I've gotten bigger now, I'm at like 86,000 subscribers, praise the Lord. They're on me in seconds. Right. Whereas like before, I would get some leeway. They maybe come back after a month and be like, oh, strike. And I'd be like, right. But now it doesn't take longer than a day for them to be like, yeah, this is coming down. So try to be extremely conscientious. I have him run it through his system first to see. And sometimes we've run into that problem as well. It'll clear on his end because he also has a channel, but he doesn't have as many subscribers as me. So it'll say no checks, it's fine, and then he'll shoot it to me. I'll upload it, and it's a bunch of little things, and I'm like, yeah. So still a little curve there, but they're on me now, man. Like it's so bad. I have no wiggle room, none at all.
Yeah, I know it's very arbitrary between channel to channel. You can upload the exact same cut from one channel to another, and they get different dings on both ends. And I know, again, my sort of biggest understanding is like the film and TV side of things. And one of the biggest differences I know from that genre of reactions to music reactions is that movie and TV reactions, like you basically play the material like entirely all the way through without stopping for the most part. For like a lot of people, like, usually like to do it like that. But I know music reactions, the large part of the culture around that is pausing after a verse or two, dissecting, breaking down your thoughts midway, and then continuing. That's largely part and due to copyright, I know, and then partly just how things have evolved over the years with it. As a music lover, and someone who is like very versed in music, does that sort of format affect your engagement in any way with the material? Does it stifle the enjoyment, or does it sort of enhance it in a way because you're engaging with it in a different manner?
Not as much anymore because I have Patreon now. I'm very, very active on my Patreon. I always drop the unedited versions of my music reactions up there first. I feel like throughout the years, I've stopped hyper focusing on the copyright as much because that was bothering me. Feeling like I couldn't sit and really enjoy the music without stopping it, without pausing it. So now I just go with the flow, and I tell my editor, just grab the parts that are most interesting. If I'm saying something, make sure those parts are in. If I make a funny facial expression, make sure those parts are in, and clip it so that you have the highest points of the song, the points of the song that everybody's like talking about. We try to make sure that those clips are in. But aside from that, I try not to worry about it as much because I do want to sit and just enjoy it. And sometimes I'm talkative. So sometimes I'll have something to say. Sometimes I'll make a face, but now I just sit and enjoy it, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it. And I do still get the comments of people like, "You're cutting so much." I'm like, "Baby, you don't know how copyright works. I can't explain it to you right now." But if you want to watch the unedited version, you can do so for $5 over on my Patreon. My stuff is a Wendy's meal. Okay, I'm not charging an arm and a leg. But if you want to see it uncut, like the whole journey through the song, you can do it over there. So I'm way more relaxed now. And I enjoy it way more this way than I did before when I was hyper focused on the copyright.
Right. And yeah, just over the years, you've covered so many different songs, different artists. And how do you approach, say, a new artist? Because there have been so many great new artists over the last several years. When you're listening to someone's material for the first time, what are some of the key elements you sort of tap into first to sort of like understand, their work and digest it?
I dip a toe. I dip a toe outside. I definitely pay attention to people that my audience say I might enjoy. I do like my own research. Also, I feel kind of set aside or set apart from the reaction community in one way only, and it's I care about personhood a lot. I do my best to avoid people who are not using their platforms in a way that I feel like is just demonstrative. I try to stay away from that. I try to stay away from people who, problematic, I guess would be the only way to describe it. So I definitely ask about that first. I'm like, what's up with that? I have one very hard line, and that's abuse. I do not react to abusers of any kind. If you have an abuser on their project, I don't react to that project. I might come back later and see. If we're good, then cool. But that's like a very hard line for me. So I make sure all of those things are in order. I have a series called Fresh Face Friday that is primarily on my Patreon now, but I did start the episodes on my channel. I didn't think people were really feeling them like that, so I moved it over to Patreon. And that's where I listen to a couple of songs. If I really like it, I'll listen to 3. And and by the end of it, I decide whether I want to go back and listen to a full project if I feel like connected enough. And that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I also do a lot of research just into
a lot.
Anyone that I want to sort of support or lift up. It's definitely something you should take into consideration, I would think, for anyone who wants to use their platform for, good in a way.
Yeah.
And over the years, I guess, how has your music literacy or just your love with music evolved through the reactions and through the videos?
My ear is far more finely tuned than it was when I began. I've always loved music, but now I know specific things that I enjoy more than others. So when I hear those things, I pick it out. I'm like, oh, my favorite things, which a lot of my supporters know. I love bass a lot. I love a good synth a lot. I love excellent vocals. I am a singer as well. So I care a lot about how people hop on the mic. I enjoy a specific cadence. Just different specific things that I feel like I'm drawn to naturally. But I am always excited to hear things that I haven't heard before, and see if I enjoy that. I'm never closed off. I love all genres of music. If it resonates, it resonates. So
exactly. Yeah. I'm very much the same way. I don't have any specific genre that I'm opposed to. It's just like I hear something and it just clicks if it clicks.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. And yeah, over the past year, you've made a further expanse into film and TV reactions. You made a video last year updating sort of like, the direction of the channel and how you wanted to sort of shift things over to Patreon because of some of the reasons we had just talked about. It was in partly to, monetization, but also, yes, who you want to feature on the platform. Would you be able to sort of break down again that sort of decision of how you came about that, that transition?
Sure. Well, all of us in the West, I feel like we became aware of the atrocities happening in Palestine on October 7th. And I was immediately impacted emotionally. I felt the strongest pull. It was all I was posting about on any of my platforms. I'm like, can y'all, because that's all that they were asking for. They were not asking for money. They were only asking for people to share what was happening to them. So to see so many artists that I love deeply, love their art deeply, pretend like they do not see, they do not hear, because at a certain point, it was everywhere. You couldn't avoid it. Everybody knew about it, especially if you're online posting about your own brands, your own music drops, your own. So you're really just ignoring it. And that just did not sit right in my spirit at all, at all. So I made a hard stance. That on top of the fact that I don't get paid to promote you all. I do it because I genuinely enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy your art. If you all are going to primarily prioritize your bag, I'm going to do the same and put all of your music on my Patreon. But I made a decision that if people were speaking about the atrocities and the genocide taking place in Palestine, Sudan, anywhere that we became aware of within these last couple of years, that I would platform them for free. But if you are not, and I still enjoy your art, y'all can pay for it. Right. I was very open and very, very transparent in showing my analytics. There are red dollar signs all over the place. I have not been getting paid to do these videos. I just do them because I love it. I love being a content creator, but I also love movies and TV, and I love like watching those reactions. Shout out to Ashley Ippolito. Shout out to Jay Meets World. I also feel like I could bring something to that space as well. And I know that they're able to monetize their videos semi easier than music. Even when I put up my music reactions now, they still get striked. I don't even worry about it anymore because primarily my monetization now is coming from the TV and music movie reactions. But I was like, it feels like the right thing to do on top of the fact that I'm finally going to start being able to make livable money. That would be lovely. That would be great.
Exactly. Yeah. It's again, it goes hand in hand with wanting to support yourself, choosing how you support others. That's definitely your, prerogative when this is your platform and how you want to use your voice.
Absolutely.
In terms of like, how you want to represent yourself. And yeah, you mentioned, the music, movie, TV reactions. Were you familiar with that space? As you were getting into it, were there any sort of, channels or inspirations you drew from to get started with that?
Definitely Ashley Polito. I loved her greatly. And then we connected. I had her on my own podcast. I love her editing so much. I think she's hilarious. And I was doing movie and TV reactions on my Patreon only, but it was unedited. I didn't know how to step like into this space and cultivate like my own little style or like the different memes and overall how I wanted it to watch and like feel. So that was new, but I definitely left that a lot up to my editors. I've had several editors, and see like what their style was, what they thought would fit my energy. Cause I feel like I have a big personality as it is. So I was like, I don't know if I want to do like too many memes or just like sound effects or like different things. So we've been tinkering with it. We've been playing with it, but I think I have a good solid style now, so I'm happy about it.
Absolutely, I would say so. And yeah, well, I guess you mentioned your relationship with your grandfather and how that translated into like your relationship with film. What is your general background with visual media, TV and film? Obviously, I believe you're a Last Airbender fan because of the name, KioshiWarrior.
Yes.
So yeah, just like what is your sort of general history with that?
I was always like a TV junkie very young. That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire, Taina, if you know.
I know Taina, yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank God. Oh my God. how did that show only get one season? It's trash. I was so angry. But it's definitely been like a warm place for me as well. I definitely watch more TV than film. So that's kind of like, I feel like I'm pushing myself in this space to like watch more movies. Like I just recently watched The Substance. That's available on my Patreon. And I was like, this is a fantastic film. Like getting more into the nuances of that, I definitely want to grow and see what I like in film. I know kind of what I like in TV because I watch Golden Girls with my grandma almost every day during the summers I spent with her. So yeah. I was like, I know I like sitcom type TV shows. I know I like drama. I love Gossip Girl. Obsessed. I love like Scandal, like Shonda Rhimes' entire style of writing and the way that she builds TV shows is so interesting to me. So I'm definitely growing into it. Before I just liked it, and now I'm working at like the technicalities and being like, okay, so what do I like? Kind of like I did with music.
Right. Yeah. Developing the understanding, the sense of like, you know, your own taste and how things go. And from a workflow standpoint, what would you say are some of the biggest differences between the music and movie reactions, just in terms of, you know, obviously editing and recording, and just like also just the presentational aspect of just, you know, being engaged with that specific difference of material?
Finding the timing has been my entire thing. When I was editing it for Patreon, timing it so I'm not reacting the exact same time something happens in the movie, making sure it's like maybe half a second afterwards and throughout the entire thing. And I was like, oh, yikes. With music, I play it on my speaker. I also don't funnel. I have a speaker that I sit like right in front of me. I don't funnel it through a computer and headphones when I do my reactions. It's just kind of like open air. So everything's at once. Super easy to cut, super easy to time. But with reactions, making sure it's reacting to the movie and I'm not like right on top of it has been a thing. So that's like the main thing.
Right. Yeah. The balance is definitely something that I think everyone has to learn at first.
Yes, respect the balance.
Exactly.
I love that movie. It was so good.
I'm looking forward to it. Will that be coming to YouTube at some point?
It did, but then it got taken down, so maybe later.
Okay.
We'll re-edit it. We'll put it back up. But right now, it's just on Patreon.
Okay. I'll have to get the Patreon then to check it out.
Fabulous. $8 for the movie and TV stuff. If you just want music, it's $5.
It's worth it.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, you know, and the editing of the videos, your video specifically, is really an art of its own. Just the humor that you put into it, accentuated by, you know, the memes and the cutaways, the inserts, the movements of the editing, so on. You put a lot into it. I know you said you have editors as well, but there definitely is just a creative, you know, workflow that goes into it, obviously. I guess in terms of, you know, accentuating that stuff with the extra material, do you have any sort of specific process for that? Is it something that you and your editors feel pretty natural at doing, or do you do like, you know, say an edit pass and like another pass for memes and such like that?
It is pretty natural. I think I don't know Jordan's process in detail, but if there are specific things that I felt while I was filming that I'm like, oh, that would be a good edit, I definitely text him beforehand and I'm like, can we do this here? Can we do that here? And that's like seldom because I love his style so much. He's also been a supporter of mine for a while, so he's very familiar with my humor and different things that he wants placed. But like this last Twilight reaction I did for Breaking Dawn Part 1, Part 2 is coming. Please don't yell at me. Breaking Dawn Part 1, I'm big on Kendrick's album right now, GNX, and I love the song Peekaboo. And at the end, her eyes go open. So I was like, make sure you be like, Peekaboo, just put the song like in the back. So just little things like that. But the flow is pretty easy. I find myself referencing a lot of other movies and TV shows while I'm reacting to movies and TV shows. So if I do that, then they'll like take a cutaway of like a clip from that movie and make it an overlay, or they'll use like a little sound from it or something like that, just so you can have a callback moment. And those are always really fun, especially if people who are watching are like, oh, I love that movie, or don't apologize. And I'll be like, I'm sorry if I go off on a tangent about Shrek and we're watching Twilight. It triggered something in my head. So those moments are fun, and we like highlighting those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I've loved getting through the reactions and just the edits, and like they're so clever, and again, it's funny, and it's just in a way that makes you feel so original about who you are as a person. I think it's
Thank
a really great
you.
way to elevate the space, not just your videos, but the space in general, to make it so transformative. And you've hit a pretty strong chord, specifically with the horror genre, doing films like The Conjuring 2 and It, and getting to the Scream franchise. I found you through the Scream franchise because that's my favorite, horror film,
Awesome.
and one of my favorite franchises. And you made a post on Twitter asking, if people had any recommendations for more iconic final girls, for you to watch. And so that's how I found you and was able to binge watch your videos. I guess what was that experience like, just getting into the genre, the horror genre? Is that something you're already privy to, and what was it like getting into specifically like a Scream and sort of an established franchise like that?
Well, I feel like I'm very well versed in the ookie spooky now. I claim it. I claim it. I do. At first, I was like, I'm not really a blood girl. I'm not really like a spirit girl. But I reacted to The Conjuring 2 was my first horror reaction, and
Right.
they loved it. They loved me screaming and hiding, and I've gotten to the point now I'm very proud of myself. I watch it without closing my eyes. Whatever happens happens.
Right.
But the Scream series I love so much because it was just really
Hmm.
smart, lots of detail. The callbacks are really cool once things started like coming together and I got deeper into the series. And I'm looking forward to doing like another horror series like that. People really want me to watch Saw, and I'm like, I watched the first Terrifier movie that's on my Patreon as well. I will not be watching any more of those. It's too much for
Fair.
me. I know a line. I have a line now. I think it
Yeah.
seems. It seems. But I definitely enjoy story. I love a good final girl. So like, I took down all those recommendations. I actually
Hmm.
reacted to Ready or Not, and that's on my
Oh well.
Patreon. And that was
Yeah.
she's sickening. That was such a good movie. Such a good movie.
Yeah.
So I think I'm learning what I do and don't like completely rock with in the horror genre. But I'm definitely open. I'm definitely open to getting more into it because I feel like the horror genre is very easily dismissed. I have
Hmm.
not watched Hereditary in total. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know Toni Collette from United States of Terror. That's one of my favorite shows as well,
Right.
and she's just incredible. So the fact that she was not even nominated for an Oscar still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in as far as recognizing the genre in total in awards and different things like that is very bypassed. I'm like, seeing The Substance get nominated for so many different things, I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Because the movie is fantastic. The story, the writing, everything about it, aside from like the gore and like body horror elements of it, is incredible. And I think people should pay more attention to that in the horror space instead of just worrying about the blood and guts and stuff. I feel like
Right.
it's more than that. I feel like it's
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah. I'm pulling for Demi for the win.
I'm not even I love Cynthia. I'm like, Wicked or Substance. I'm cool with
Yeah.
either. Wicked or
Yeah.
Substance. I'm cool with, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's just like at this point, both are great, and but like it's almost retribution for Tony not getting the nomination
That too.
for
That
that.
too.
So yeah, that's the win that we're hoping for. But in addition to the blind reactions, you also started a rewatch of the Twilight series on the channel as well. I've been having a great time watching those, and you mentioned up top that it's not your first time watching them. This is a franchise that you're really invested in. You've seen it over several times already, but you still managed to make those videos very fun and very elevated,
Thank
just
you.
because your personality just brings that out. It's as fun as watching any sort of blind reaction, and you are able to sort of keep that engagement level just right there, which is a skill. It's honestly a skill. I've
Thank
seen a
you.
lot of people can't really do it like that. They have a hard time sort of like keeping that level if it's something that they're already familiar with. And how would you describe that difference between watching a series for the first time versus watching something that you know very well like that?
This was another thing I didn't know people wanted from me. I was like, you guys want me to watch something I've seen a million times? They're like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's just, I actually find it way easier to talk about stuff that I've already seen.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's coming. I love saying lines with people. I love like
Right.
that. That's my favorite. Because Twilight, honestly, I definitely held back. I could have said way more lines with people, but I was like, let me not be completely annoying.
Right.
But I definitely love that, my little comfort watch series. So I have a whole list, a lot more to come. I have ADHD, so I watch things over and over and over again for long periods of time, and then I switch to something else, and then I watch that for months. So like, there's definitely, I have a whole long list of movies and TV shows, quite frankly, that I'm well engrossed in, and I could talk about forever. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that this year as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I had a great time with the Twilight films. I'm looking forward to the final one for Breaking Dawn Part 2.
I'm filming that today. Let's go.
Great. Yeah, I wore the shirt just for you for today.
Please. Please. That treacherous wig. The treacherous wig. Where you been, Loca? Please. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I was looking for the shirt for a long time. I finally found it. They only had it in like a women's size for so long, but it was one where he was smiling, which made it even better.
Such a horrible. Oh my god. The Twilight series is equally just brilliant and just brilliant.
Yeah, I actually hadn't seen it until a couple years ago in its entirety because it came out, when I was like in high school, so it was back in the day where I was like, oh, like Twilight, like no, but so I kind of just didn't put it off for a long time, and then my girlfriend was a big fan of it, and so a couple years ago we got COVID, unfortunately, for the first time. Yuck. And so we were just like dying in bed for like a week, and I was like, you know what, let's just put on all of Twilight. Let's just like lay here and just like watch the films. And so that has a very special place in my heart, and just in terms of like helping us sort of like get through that and awesome. Just like have something to distract us with.
Since you mentioned it, 2 seconds.
Sure.
I got this in the mail.
Oh my God, you found it. I remember you saying you wanted someone to find it for you.
Listen, I've been waiting for this my entire life. I can't wait to build it. It's over 2,000 pieces, so it's obviously going to take me a while. Yeah. But very big fan of the series.
Yeah, that should definitely be a video. I would love to see that.
Are you serious? See, I was like, this is sacred time for me. I'm going to binge watch the movies and sit and eat and build it. So I'm just
also fair. It's also fair.
I'm going to take it for myself. Y'all got the videos. I need my Lego time.
Hey guys, Eric from Passionfruit. Just wanted to thank you for tuning into this episode of Reactorverse. To everyone who's commented on our videos, shared our work, or otherwise supported the channel, we see you, we appreciate you, and we've got a lot of exciting things coming for the creator community at Passionfruit. If you haven't already, the usual stuff on YouTube always helps us. Hitting that like button and subscribing with the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. We also have a bi-weekly Passionfruit newsletter that focuses on the creator industry, which you can sign up for through the link in the video description and the pinned comment. Twice a week, you'll get our best stories, as well as exclusive interviews, expert reviews, and the latest resource guides to help you navigate every stage of the creator journey. We've even got a weekend newsletter on the way, with a curated creator spotlight that focuses on the best online content from the people who make it, you. Thanks again for supporting Passionfruit and Reactorverse and helping make your content your business, and giving love to the people who make the web. But in addition to the films, I've also been dabbling in TV. You covered the Heartstopper series. You're now getting into Hunter x Hunter. In terms of just the difference in that itself is, I know, a big sort of transition. What has that been like covering the TV side of things?
I binge watch TV anyway. Like always, if I find a new show that I'm really into, I never watch just one episode. I kind of go on a whole spiel. So it was really easy for me to sit and watch that with my community. I love live reactions. I love sitting in Discord with my community and talking to them as like we're watching stuff. It keeps me more awake, more alert. And if I have genuine questions, they can give me answers. And that's nice for context while I'm watching the show. And I found people really, really enjoying like my chat and it was like, oh, your chat is so funny. They said this, and this. So it adds just another different layer of entertainment to it. So, and with Hunter x Hunter as well, I'm becoming a bit of an anime girl. I feel it riling up in me. I do. I love that series a lot, and I'm gonna finish it. I decided I was just gonna do the first arc, but I was like, no, I got to keep going. This is too good. It's too good. It's too good. I love it so much.
Yeah. Is anime something you've been like exposed to before, or is it sort of a new genre for you?
My ex loved My Hero Academia, so I watched a bit of that with him, for him.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, and I very much fell off of it after we broke up, but I enjoyed the show and I might get back into it. I feel like I stopped at like season 3, but I love the different themes. The general theme of anime that I've seen is just fortitude,
Right.
pushing past the hard moments, becoming the best version of yourself. And that's like what I'm always actively doing. So I relate to a lot of that. And Hunter x Hunter specifically, the things they had to do to get through that test, I was like, I'd be on the ground, but kudos to you. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
A lot of different aspects of it are really inspiring. So I enjoy that part.
Yeah, my girlfriend would say the same thing. I got her into anime. Her idea of anime was Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, so on. So I showed her Attack on Titan, which I'm sure people probably recommended to you.
God bless you. I can't do teeth. That's why I can't react. I can't do teeth. I watched the first episode. It was too many teeth. I couldn't do it. I can't do it.
That's fair. She had a hard time getting through that, but she ended up loving it. But yeah, it can definitely be an adjustment compared to something like My Hero Hunter x Hunter for sure.
And my first anime I finished was Yuri on Ice. That
was the
nice. First one I reacted to. That all of that is on my Patreon, and I will find you people who did not give them a second season. The way they set it up, I was just so angry. I was like, okay, so what's the next season? They were like, yeah, it's over. I'm like, so you guys made me all emotional and excited and connected to the characters, and you can't do that. That should be illegal. But it's such a fantastic show.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Do you have any plans to bring more anime to the channel at some point? Or are you going to stick with just Hunter x Hunter for now and see how that sort of pans out?
Well, seeing as how Hunter x Hunter is pretty long, I do try to stay like a little congruent. I try not to do more than one show at a time. It's just for my own brain. But right now, like on Patreon, I'm doing an interview with the vampire. And I'm going to probably put season 2 of that on the channel. But as far as anime, I think I'm going to knock out Hunter x Hunter first and then swing back around and pick another show to start with. Since there's so many episodes, I'm like, I need to finish this and not get distracted. Let's finish this.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one to start with because it's a good number of episodes, but it's not something like One Piece or Naruto or whatever. You know, like
should I even start One Piece? I'm debating.
It's just to let you know, it's at this point in time, it's 1,000+ episodes.
That I know.
So it's a commitment. But everyone says it's the GOAT. It's one of the great animes of all time. I know they're going to be reanimating it soon.
That I heard too. Yeah.
With a new production. So maybe that could be a time to pick it up and just like try to watch it alongside when that comes out.
I was like, maybe I'll just watch it alone. Maybe I won't react to it. Maybe I'll just watch it by myself and go on the year's journey that is going to take me to finish it.
Yeah, you definitely would get through it faster if you could binge it without having to then pause the edit and so on to get it out. And as I mentioned up top, it was your birthday recently, and you put out the vlog for that, which was a lot of fun to just sit and watch through. And you mentioned during a section of it how you were going to start, emphasizing yourself as a brand. As like sort of like the brand of you, and start making sure that you're prioritizing like what you stand for, what you want people to know that you stand for. One of the main things that we advocate through Passionfruit is understanding that anyone who makes content online consistently is effectively a small business, and you should be allowed the rights and benefits of having a small business, and knowing where you stand with platforms and how they treat you, and believing in yourself as a brand is also something that I think takes a significant amount of courage to say, this is what I stand for. This is who I am. I don't want to compromise my values for, the sake of a sponsorship or ad revenue or whatever. I guess how has that recognition of yourself evolved over the years, just making material and just having an audience that appreciates you for who you are and how you want to represent yourself?
I get all emotional talking about my babies. I love them a lot. They very much do treat me like a person. Like I try to do with artists. I'm like, they're people with gifts. I treat them like people, and not just objects to be consumed. And I feel like I have, especially now, the autonomy to step out and do more things like vlogs, do other things. They've been begging for these things for years, but I've very much been in my head like, oh, people don't want to see that. Like they just want to see me react to the things that they like and da da da. But I will say now, I haven't said this publicly, but I have another channel coming. I'm working on a separate channel, and that's gonna be more of like personal stuff, like my music that I'm working on this year. more vlogs, get ready with me, my podcast, season 2 of my podcast, that's also coming. And just more like a space for me to have all of my personal time and not feel like I'm conflicting with the people who genuinely don't really care about me as an individual and just care about their favorite shows. You guys can have this space as well. So I don't feel torn, essentially,
Right.
or I don't feel a particular way when I put up a get ready with me or a vlog that I really like and it doesn't get as many views. It's like other things, though I've been trying not to care about that, but now that I'm worrying about monetization and different things, I'm like, I want people to like these things. So if they're all in one space, I just feel like that'd be easier. But
Right.
I love it. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful because I hate when I see other creators that have audiences that do not care about them as people and treat them like robots. I very much advocate for them. I'm like,
Right.
One of my pet peeves, it's a pet peeve. They just put out this whole video, this entire video that it took them hours to edit and and you're underneath like, well, yeah, that's nice, but where's this and this and this? And I'm just like,
Right. Yeah.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. It's nice, it's sweet, but can we talk about this thing that I just spent all of my time and energy putting just for a second. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also appreciate, just when when a creator can cultivate an audience that understands them, that appreciates, their certain tastes and like just their habits. Because like you said, your chat is a big part of, why you enjoy those experiences, those live viewings. And you can only achieve that with the audience that you have cultivated to understand who you are as a person and your sentiments. And like, I think that's a very great way to build a community that you can then impart your, personal values on. So that way you're building a good community of good people in that sense.
Thank you. No, they're very kind. They're very encouraging. They've uplifted me in so many different ways to now where I'm comfortable saying, yes, I'm an artist. Like I'm a vocalist. I sing, I'm going to make music. It's been a years long process of me getting to this place. And I can genuinely say, I don't think I would have gotten here without them. So I feel like they call me their comfort creator, but I also feel like I owe them a lot. I don't know who I'd be if I hadn't built this platform and cultivated this community. I'm just really grateful for them.
Of course. And yeah, just being able to expand your creativity, your creative outlets, I think is important for most creators. I think that anyone who has the ability to do that should, because it helps you, it will avoid, burnout and just, hitting any sort of ruts that you feel doing the same sort of type of material for so long. And for you, I guess, how do you go about that in terms of just doing it for so many years, avoiding burnout, avoiding any sort of routine that you feel is maybe stifling your sort of, continuous engagement with it?
I've definitely had moments where I had to step away, like for at least a month or two, I can remember. But the live reactions, like I said, that helped with my burnout a lot. Because sitting and like you said, filming the same way, the same time, like doing the same thing, it can get a little bit monotonous. And even though I enjoy it greatly, having the switch up of like, okay, I'm going to film 2 traditional videos this week and I have 2 live streams this week, and like making sure they're in between each other, I don't get the feeling of, oh my God, I'm tired. They give me like a lot of energy. I don't think they realize like how much energy they give me to press forward when I'm having like those little moments where I'm like, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I don't want to do anything.
Right.
But I know I want to interact with them. And I might as well be productive and let's watch something instead of us just sitting and talking forever, because I can do that. But
Yeah.
it added a different layer to it. And I'm like, okay, I haven't had burnout in a while because of that. So definitely switching up the format, doing it live versus traditional filming has helped a lot.
Yeah. And like I said, building a community that understands who you are as a brand is important. So that way you can feel confident to express your thoughts and values on camera and like in the way you want to construct your material. And part of the brand building is public image, obviously, particularly with sharing those beliefs on certain subjects. You mentioned before about the genocide in Gaza happening right now and how you've been very vocal about wanting to advocate for awareness for that. We just spoke with our friend, Jeff May on our another show, Deep Linkers, that we do here. And he, sort of broke down his approach where he's like, I want to make sure if I'm going to work with anyone, if I want to put anyone out there, that they know who I am as a person, and like my values are not going to be, compromised by the work. The work's not gonna. I'm not gonna prioritize work that I could potentially get if I were just stay quiet. And so that's the type of thing that I think it's scary for a lot of people, but I think it's commendable when people are able to sort of get over that hump and say, like, I want to make sure that you know who I am as a person and where I stand on certain things. And for yourself, what are some of your thoughts on just wanting to use your platform for that awareness and those issues, and just being able to have the ability to do that and to have the courage to say that out loud?
It feels like, for me, it feels like obligation.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed. I have been immensely blessed to have access to thousands of ear gates and eye gates, thousands of people who hear me and trust what I'm saying. So I want to make sure I'm giving a voice to people that need it. I talk about everything. There's nothing that's like off limits for me in regards to addressing, obviously, the genocide, but also racism, especially in the content creation space, xenophobia, just so many, like there are so many things happening and so many ways in which people are discriminated. I'm also a member of the queer community, so I'm always going to advocate for us. And it feels like, because I have this space, I'm going to use it, not just for myself. We are not on this planet alone. I was born with an immense amount of empathy. I can't not care about certain things once I'm aware of them. I just do. Right. And I don't expect everyone to be like me. I have no judgment for people who aren't, but I definitely feel like we have the ability to do it, so why not do it? Which is why I was so disappointed to see people who are in far higher places than me not saying anything. I'm like, why? It takes nothing to be kind. I say that all the time. It takes nothing to be considerate of others. And as far as like brands and things, I haven't had many sponsorships, honestly. I've only done a couple, but even in those spaces, like you said, I make sure that they know exactly who I am. I'm not going to promote anything just to do it, just for a check. I have to genuinely like whatever you're doing, and then I have to make sure I align with who you all are as a company. So like I said in my vlog, whoever gravitates to me and they know who I am and they still want to work with me, I'm down. If they don't, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't care. So like it has to be completely aligned across the board.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it becomes a tough thing to do, I think, as time goes on, just with the way internet culture is going, and that's why I really love the reaction space in general. I love the fact that a lot of reaction creators are women and women of color, and I think that's great that they are given platforms that people just like are able to sit and listen to their thoughts and their insights, and that's usually something that we can definitely take for granted for in the internet that we have today, in terms of like listening to people. That's why I think the reaction space is such a beautiful place to sort of share sites and learn from people in that way. Or how do you sort of, I guess, navigate through those obstacles in terms of just like the way the internet can be, like nasty comments, like hateful messaging that you can see that's not even directed at you, just in the atmosphere, and just like sort of trying to get through the day with those problems.
Well, I use my block button a lot. It's my favorite thing to do. I don't hesitate to block. You're in my space. This is my little safe bubble. You will not come over here and disrespect me. That is not, I give respect because I want it. I don't step into spaces and just say whatever out of my mouth to anyone, regardless of whether you're a content creator or artist. I just don't do that. So once I learned about the feature on YouTube where you could block certain words, certain emojis, certain things like from your comments, it cleaned up a bit. I would always get like the fat comments, the like, different things like that. And I don't want to feel that in my space. You can think whatever you like, but you're not going to come over here and just willingly disrespect me and not get no. Sometimes I lose my cool. So to speak. I'm like, how dare you come over here? It's like you do not know me. Like I just don't. I know it's the cloak of the internet and everybody is brave behind the screen, baby. And you would not say that to me in front of my face. Everything that I say on camera, I would say in public, in front of you.
Yeah.
And not to sound like an asshole, but I'm like, if you don't like what I'm doing, you could make a channel. Where's your channel?
Right.
Like, is it people have so much to say and feel like so entitled to creators' times, their platforms, telling them what they feel like they should be doing and or talking about, or the way that they look like. And that's why I look out for the girlies as well. I watch many different reactors on the platform. I'm always like in the comments, like making sure, like, yeah, just a little couple extra set of eyes doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't talk to her that way, or give her time and space. She's busy. She has a million different things going on. Have some patience. Don't talk, like, just,
right.
It feels like that's the least I can do as well, because that's how I want to be treated. Like, I've experienced a lot, and not to completely shift gears, but I experienced a lot of deaths within these last couple of years, and I've been asking for grace as I try to work. The output might not be as much as it is before, and just recently, this past October, on the 4th, my vocal coach passed away, and we were working on a lot of different things, and I feel like I started back working way too soon after that. Right. And I'm genuinely still processing and trying to figure out what I want to do personally about, like, my own vocal training. Do I find another teacher? Like, just so many different things. And I'm like, bro, I am here. I am always here to create content and bring joy and spend time with you guys. But if I need to step away for any reason, I just ask that you please regard me as a human. And I think that all creators should be treated that way.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's something I advocate for anyone, is to be able to take time away if you need to, especially if this is going to have any sort of longevity. You have to have those breaks to sort of, rebound from life events and so on. Otherwise, you can't just push through all the time, because that's how things eventually start to crumble in the long run. And I guess over the years, what would you say has been the most consistent obstacle that you've faced with the channel?
Besides copyright?
Copyright is definitely one for sure. Yeah.
That's the main one, child. Besides copyright, I'd say I feel like people get it about me now, but I'm like, I'm gonna do what I want. I don't care what's trending. I don't care what's happening. If I'm not interested, I'm not going to do it. So like, dealing with the fact that people are like, oh, Maya only reacts to, I'm like, because I want to. Yeah. I'm always going to react to, like, some of my fave girls. And there's, like, a lot of music artists that I have not reacted to. They're, like, my favorite people. Because I'm like, I have to keep something for myself, you guys. I made this my job. That's been the hardest thing. I made the thing I love the most in the world my job. Yeah. So now I feel like if my favorite artist drops a project, I'm like, should I listen to it now or should I wait to react to it? Oh, I don't feel like reacting to this. I'm just going to listen to it now. Like, like just this past week, Kaylani and K1 released a very spicy music video. And I was like, that would have been a great reaction. But I'm glad I sat here and watched it as soon as I saw the notification hit my phone. If you know, you know. But it was, So that's been my biggest thing, trying to find the lines between what I want to keep for myself and what I want to, like, put on my platforms,
Exactly. Yeah. That's the reactor dilemma of having to decide, well, what's for me, what's for the channel. Yeah. And dipping that out. And how have you personally grown over the years with the channel?
I feel like I grew up on my channel. When I first started my videos, I had just graduated. Well, when starting reactions, I had just graduated college. So I was like 20, turning 21. And the frontal lobe was not fully formed. And I definitely, I don't want to say I was, like, putting on, but I watched many other reactors, like, be completely themselves and be loud and be boisterous. And I was like, well, I can do that too. And like, just going. And I feel like as I've grown into myself as a person, I've relaxed a bit. I'm still, like, loud. I'm still outgoing, but I'm definitely a different version of myself from when you see my earlier videos. So I've grown a lot personally, and I think that shows in my content. I think I'm far more conscientious. I pay attention far more than I used to before. I very much used to just let my emotions go and just scream, girl. Just scream, just scream and say nothing else but explicatives. And now I'm like, well, let's dissect this first. And or like, I love this line. And some things I just wasn't like, I didn't care about before. I was like, people just want to see me scream, so I'm going to scream. Mm-hmm. You know, right. It comes naturally. I'm just going to let it all go. But now I'm a little more focused and well-rounded, I feel like, in regards to my reactions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely a lot of growth that comes with it for sure. Yes. And the final question is, what is the most rewarding aspect of the channel beyond any monetary or financial value?
Oh, it's my community. Mm-hmm. It is my community. It is the people that are drawn to me. That is it's the best compliment in the world. People saying I'm their comfort creator. Did they just throw my video on when they just want to relax, or like I'm great background noise, or like if I want to eat dinner, I'm gonna do it and watch one of Maya's videos. That is just the hugest compliment. I'm extremely humbled always by the people who gravitate to me, and I welcome them, and I'm like, welcome to the family. Like, we are a family, and I'm again extremely aware of my influence. I'm extremely aware. So I am careful with my words. I am careful with what I promote. I want them to have the peace in my head that I do. I don't want to cause them any stress, any strife. I want to make sure they're as relaxed and like as happy as they can be. I love my Discord so much. I just created my Discord last year, and all of the different rooms. I'm like, I have a space if you want to vent, if you need, you know, comfort in any way. I have a space for the girlies to go to church like me. We can talk about the Lord, all of those things, like creating a community where everybody feels safe. Where everybody feels like they can be themselves with no judgment. This is a no judgment zone. If you come up in here with that energy, you will be removed.
Right.
And I don't care about hurting feelings as well. I feel like I put in that video where I was talking about shifting gears, I'm like, please unsubscribe. If you don't feel as though what I'm doing aligns with you, I'd like to see accurate analytics. I'm never afraid to tell people, you know, I appreciate you being here. This might not be the space for you though.
Exactly.
And I feel like they're very grateful, and that makes me happy as well. Like they pour so much love into me. It's crazy, man. Like I'm like, y'all haven't met me a day in my life. I just recently like did my first meet and greets at the end of last year. I bought a bunch of tickets for me and some of my supporters to go see Wicked. And
nice.
I got to meet some of them for the first time in person. They brought me gifts. They gave me the biggest hugs. Somebody cried. I was like, please don't. Like, I'm an emotional girly, but seeing the faces behind people who have supported me for years was incredible. I plan on doing more meet and greets this year. And I love my community. I love my warriors. They hold me down. They hold me down. They lift me up. Everything. I love them so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. The community is definitely a big part of just what goes into this and the value of it. And I'm glad to see that you've cultivated a great community of people.
And I said, if anybody, listen, and I've said this as well, I carry myself a particular way. So if you're in my space, I don't want you acting a fool online in my name. I've checked that so many times.
Right.
I'm like, if you see me in a tit for tat with somebody and you come behind me and you saying something like really disrespectful about their looks, and I'm like, baby, that's not necessary. We don't need to engage that way. We can have a conversation without, vanity and whatever else you feel like you need to insert. I don't move that way, so I don't want anybody moving that way on my behalf, and they know that. So I feel comfortable with people who say they really follow me, they really rock with me. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I know you're carrying yourself like a particular way, and I don't have to worry about seeing people being like, oh, your fans are being racist online.
Right.
Oh, your fans are nothing from this camp.
Good. That's very good. We do have a final questionnaire that we give to everyone. 10 questions just for yourself. The first question is, what is your favorite show of all time?
Of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Can I give multiple answers?
Sure. Yeah, please.
The Golden Girls.
That's a great one.
The Golden Girls. I definitely said this before. Golden Girls, Scandal. And I love, what's that show I was doing? A recent fave. Invincible.
Invincible.
Invincible's fire.
Yeah.
I like that show a lot. I like
I
that show a
haven't
lot.
I haven't started the new season yet. I've been waiting for my girlfriend's currently out of town. She's getting back today. She's been gone for about a month. And so when she gets back, we're gonna binge watch that and a bunch of shows we're catching up on, and also probably binge watch your Twilight reactions as well.
So thank you so much. Oh, and Avatar goes without saying, you guys.
Oh yeah.
I feel like, and
Yeah.
it goes without saying. I don't have to say it every time. Just like I don't have to say I love Beyonce. It's a known thing.
Yeah, it's like above favorite. That's just
yeah.
Like
That's the brand.
yeah, exactly.
We changed the spelling for copyright, but that is the brand.
that's what I thought. That's very smart. What is your favorite film of all time?
Oh, I'm gonna have multiple answers for this too. The Prince of Egypt, beautiful.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah,
incredible music, incredible. DreamWorks killed that. Life is But a Dream. That is a Beyonce's documentary. I love it. I've watched it an infinite amount of times. And I'm gonna go with The Great Debaters.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. What stresses you out?
What stresses me out? A super full schedule.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Where I have to really be on top of my time management, and I can't just dilly dally along like and go about my day. I'm like, I have to do this specific time. Yeah, super full schedule will stress me out, but I always get it together. I always put it together.
Yeah, I feel that. What helps you relax?
Reading. I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot. I'm also a big self-care, like bodily self-care girly. So I get a lot of facials, lots of massages, and prayer. I pray a lot. I pray without ceasing. Yeah, that keeps me very relaxed.
Okay, good combination of things. What is a hobby or passion you have outside of TV and film and music, I would say?
A passion. I'll say you said movie and film, and I was reading like music. Oh, that is a good question. I don't. I'm a pooch mom.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
he's my first pet ever. I've never had a pet before. Oh, really? My brother had a snake, and I mainly took care of it, so I considered him to be my pet. But this is my first responsibility. I am a mother. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a mother. He is a bill. And raising a pooch, I'm enjoying. This feels like a very purposeful hobby, and I love him a lot. My baby.
Absolutely. What fictional character do you relate to or just care deeply about?
Raven Baxter.
That's a great one.
I feel Raven Baxter, Mercedes on Glee. Shout out to Amber Riley. Both girls who were Black and considered to be like plus size and anomalies in their space. Raven is the Beyonce of Disney, and I feel like she's like maybe 25% of my personality.
Right.
Like I was obsessed with her comedy. Raven was just so talented and so loving and so crazy, and I loved her very much.
Yeah, shout out to Xenon. That's the first. I think that's the first thing I ever saw.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was my favorite when I was growing up. What is your guilty pleasure show or film?
Guilty pleasure. Oh my gosh, I'm such a girly girl. I love like Bratz the movie.
That's a great one. That's a great answer.
The live action movie. Oh my gosh, it's so bad, but it's so good. It's so good. And the musical number at the end, they chewed. It was so good. I love it. I love Bratz the movie.
Yeah. Have you seen Life Size?
Yes.
The movie Life Size. That always reminded me of Life Size.
That's on my comfort watch list.
Yeah.
I had that on VHS. I wore it out until it didn't play anymore.
Right. Yeah, that always reminded me of those two movies together. What show or film gave your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
Oh my god, Heartstopper left me so open emotionally, and I shared a lot about myself when we were watching that series. No regrets at all. When I related, I definitely spoke to that. I was like, this show, if I'm glad the kids now have it. I'm so grateful, but I'm like, what would life have been like if we had this show when we were younger and we could see these things, like these different conversations being had and figuring ourselves out as we were growing up. It's such an important show. And I gained like a whole bunch of people like came to my Discord from that show too. They were like, I found her from her Heartstopper reactions. So I'm like, I know you guys are sweet people. And I was like, I love doing Heartstopper, and probably out of the Twilight movies, New Moon. Because it's my it's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
That's great. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Oh, that's a good one. Oof. So many good ones. Okay, I'm gonna say this just because I just watched it. Mm-hmm. I was just in New York and Step Brothers was on TBS. And I had that movie on DVD. I love Will Ferrell. And that is one of my favorite movies of all time. So watching that fresh on camera would have been hilarious. It would have been so funny.
Yeah,
so funny.
That's a great one. I think it was the anniversary. Yeah, I think it was like the 17th anniversary, just like the other day.
Cool.
Of it. So yeah, so that's a definitely a good one to have in consideration. And the final question is, what advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
Oof. Talk like I'm talking to myself, girly. Pre-record 2 months worth of videos.
Right.
Get your mind right. Way better self-talk because you're going to be dealing with people on the internet, and do what you want to do without hesitation. Because I always end up doing what I want to do eventually, but the hesitation was there, and I was like, do I think they're going to like this? Oh, they might like something else. It doesn't matter. Do what you want to do immediately. Don't second guess it. But definitely the pre-record thing. Getting ahead and not having to be stressed about, if I'm going to have a video next week, especially because I was unmedicated. I had not been diagnosed with ADHD yet. So I was all over the place and trying to keep up with what was trending, but also like what I wanted to do, and having videos already ready to go for any content creator. I'm like, get those done. Stuff that you know is going to be timeless media. So it doesn't have to be like a movie that's trending, but a video that you know will do good no matter when you release it. Pre-record like as many as you can. I said 2 months, but as many as you can before you launch. So when you launch, you have the most amount of wiggle room, and you don't have to worry about it. It would just be so nice.
Yeah.
I'll get ahead again eventually.
Yeah, just so you can hit that, start and then have a little bit of a buffer between you and the live schedule for sure.
Yes.
That's something we always definitely impress upon people. Maya, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate everything you bring to the space, everything you brought here today. You're honestly just such a great voice in the space that I found so far. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great. Great questions. I had a great time.
Thank you. Where can we find you on YouTube or social media or anywhere otherwise?
You can find me everywhere at KioshiWarrior, Patreon. I'm taking a Twitter break because Elon Musk hit a Nazi salute, and that was what?
We saw it.
Yeah, so I've been off that platform in protest, but I can't even lie, I miss Twitter a lot. I miss Twitter because my community over there is cool too. But if you want to follow me over there, I might pop over there every now and then. But I'm also on Blue Sky at KioshiWarrior, Instagram, everything at KioshiWarrior.
Fantastic. You can find me at Neurochronic across social media. You can find us at Passionfruit for us across social media as well. You'll find links to our Discord and our Patreon down below, and we'll catch everyone on the next episode.